me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Well, as usual, things are going from bad to worse for our heroes. Last time, you remember, Boris Badenov led them out on an overhanging ledge of snow to eat lunch. And then Bullwinkle put too much pepper on his hard-boiled egg, and when he sneezed, the entire ledge broke off.
I don't see them, Boris.
Me too. I guess they're buried alive.
Aren't we going to do something?
Of course. Here, blow taps in E-flat. So farewell and goodbye. Down you go in the snow. You must die with the mooseberry bush. Mooseberry bush.
That doesn't rhyme.
Natasha, they still have the bush.
You mean...
Yes, we must save them.
Again?
And so the two spies furiously set to work to dig our heroes out of the snow pile.
Well, Moose will be out in a minute.
Here is Squirrel already, and he has mooseberry bush.
Good. Then we don't need Moose.
And Boris raised a shovel and brought it down with a crash.
Gee, you're shivering, Sir Hilary.
He's just my old malaria.
Well, let's go. It's getting dark.
The party pressed onward and suddenly came upon a set of giant footprints.
They are tracks of the abominable snowman.
The abominable snowman?
Yes, a fierce man-eating monster.
I still say they look like your hoof prints, Bullwinkle.
Boris, I don't think we can fool them much longer.
No, Squirrel is too smart for us.
Yes, he's got sneaking hunch there is no such animal as abominable snowman.
There's only one way to convince him.
And that is?
He's got to see abominable snowman.
But how?
Easy. Tonight, after they are in bed, you put on white sheet over your head and...
I get it, darling. I am the snowman.
If this doesn't get rid of them, my name isn't Sir Hilary Push-em-off.
And it isn't.
And so late that night, as our heroes lay in their tent.
Say, Rock, do you think there might be such a thing as a man-eating abominable snowman?
Of course not.
How about a moose-eating abominable snowman?
Oh, no, Bullwinkle. I still think those were your footprints.
But just think if they weren't. Look at the size of that thing. Anybody with a foot that big must really be a monster.
Go to sleep, Bullwinkle. There's no such thing as a...
Ooh. What's that?
It's just the wind, Bullwinkle.
Oh, I could have sworn it was a... Ooh. There it goes again.
It's just the wind, Bullwinkle.
With galoshes on?
Sure enough, just outside their tent stood a pair of huge overshoes, and towering above them an enormous white figure with glowing eyes and teeth made of coal.
Looks just like a snowman. A snowman!
And the boys leaped out of their tent and sped off into the night.
Look at them go. Natasha, my dear, you did marvelous job.
What do you talk, darling? I haven't started yet.
Natasha, this is you?
Who else?
Then this is who?
One guess, darling.
The abominable snowman.
And the two spies followed our heroes into the night as the huge creature turned its baleful eyes on them and lumbered forward. Be sure to see our next episode, The Snowman Cometh, or An Icicle Built for Two.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
It seems that once upon a time there was a kingdom without a princess, And since no real kingdom should be without a princess, the king decreed that a princess must be found.
A princess must be found.
The king was interrupted by the court jester, Million Laughs Charlie.
Ho, 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 ho. How about a good laugh today, Kingy? A funny thing happened to me on our way to the castle. This Irishman says to me...
Please, Charlie, I'm trying to find the princess lost since childhood.
Oh, gosh, King, that's a great idea. How you gonna do it?
Nothing to it, Charlie. Just offering 1,000,000 gold grickles for the princess when she shows up.
1,000,000 gold grickles? Well, sire, I'd love to help on this project. Do you remember what she looked like at all?
No.
Good. Oh, that's too bad.
She was just a baby when she left. But I'll know her by the way she passes the test I have in mind.
Sure. Well, see you around, Kingy. I have to go cheer up some shut-ins in the dungeon. Yuck, yuck.
But Million Laughs Charlie wasn't really going to the dungeon. Oh, no. He was on his way to find...
1,000,000 gold grickles. The happy ending. Oh, I just love fairy tales.
Charlie.
Huh?
Let's go to a show tonight.
Not now, honey. I got a big deal cooking. Don't bother Charlie now, baby.
And the jester entered the house of his good friend, Clyde Clodd.
Hiya, Charlie.
Hiya, princess.
A princess? But I'm
Never say not, Clyde. Just put on this outfit.
So Charlie and Clyde Clodd set out for the castle to fool the king.
I don't want to be no princess. These high heels are killing me.
Well, King, here she is. The first contender for princess.
Big for her age, isn't she? All right, step this way. Now, if she stays awake on these mattresses overnight, I'll know she is the one.
How's that?
There will be a small pea under the bottom mattress. If she's a real princess, she will be so refined, so sensitive, that even a tiny lump like that won't let her sleep.
Very clever.
The make-believe princess climbed to the top of the pile and lay down. Then Charlie and the king waited all night.
It's time. I'll climb up and see if she's still awake.
If she's not, she sure will be.
Sure enough, Clyde was sound asleep. But when Charlie's spear came through the mattress...
Ooh! Aha! Look, she's sound asleep. That's not the real princess. Out!
Deny with that, hussy. Now you've done it, bungler.
But Charlie...
Cannot you do anything right?
But Charlie,
Put this on and meet me at the castle and see that you don't muff it this time.
Okay, Charlie.
Charlie, let's go on a picnic. I'll make peanut butter sandwiches.
No, sorry, honey. I'm in the exact middle of a very big deal.
In a little while, Clyde was once more climbing onto the mattresses.
Is the pea still in place, Charlie?
I will see, Your Majesty.
But while checking the pea, Charlie opened a bottle of mosquitoes. The idea was that they would be sure to keep Clyde awake. Unfortunately, one landed on his nose. So, when the king climbed the ladder to say goodnight...
This girl is asleep already. She's a fake. Out!
You imposteress!
Oh, Charlie, I can't do it. I ain't no princess. I'm just a...
Sure you can, kid. You'll make a great princess. Now put this on. And here, take this alarm clock. It'll wake you in the nick of time.
Sure enough, the next morning, just as the king was climbing up to check the princess, the alarm went off.
Another fake.
It's disgraceful. You know, you just can't believe anybody these days.
You're absolutely right, Charlie.
What do you mean?
I mean, out and stay out.
I tried, Charlie.
Not hard enough. Well, honey, you're in luck. Million Laughs Charlie, yuck, is now available for that date.
No, I can't make it, Charlie. Didn't get a wink of sleep last night. I think there was a pea under my mattress.
First, we'll have dinner at a pea. You don't sleep a wink?
Yes, this really was the princess. The real princess. The girl that would get the 1,000,000 gold grickles and all the titles of her realm.
999,999. 1,000,000 gold grickles. You also get your choice of any man in the kingdom. Just sign this receipt.
Any man in the kingdom? Darling!
You said it.
Will you be mine?
For keeps?
Well, that's the story. The king had his daughter, the princess had her gold, and Clyde had the princess.
Yeah, they all live happily ever after. I hate fairy tales.
Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Well, Rocky and Bullwinkle's dream of getting a mooseberry bush has turned into a nightmare when they have at last run into that legendary figure of mountain lore, the abominable snowman.
Is he following us, Bullwinkle?
I'm not even gonna turn around to find out.
Even Boris Badenov, who thought he had made up the snowman out of sheer make-believe, had to admit that there was such a thing.
But Boris, a live man-eating snowman, such a thing couldn't be.
You give me couldn't be, he give me is.
And as the four fleeing figures scrambled over the ice, the snowman steadily gained on them.
Wait, hold up.
What is it, Sir Hillary?
There's only one way for any of us to escape.
What's that?
Somebody's got to stay here and fight it out with snowmen.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
How's about you staying?
That don't make no sense at all.
Whatever we do, we better do fast. He'll be here in a minute.
Well, there's only one fair way to decide who stays. We draw straws.
Boris, not that.
Long straw gets to be big hero, okay?
Well, I suppose that's fair enough.
But where are we gonna get straws?
Just so happens I got some right here.
Yeah, funny how that works out.
Everybody take one. Princess Bubbles, Squirrel, me, and now Moose.
Boy, it sure is a long one.
Yeah, that's the first straw I ever seen I could pole vault with.
You won! Congratulations, old fellow!
Yeah, I'm just lucky, I guess.
Now, if you'll excuse us...
Well, I suppose it's up to me, Rocky. Rocky? Yoo-hoo! Rocky! Gee, he's gone.
Yes, Bullwinkle stood alone as the snowman came nearer and nearer.
I feel just like what's-his-name at the bridge.
When the snowman was within range, Bullwinkle jabbed at him with his makeshift weapon. Unfortunately, the telescoping straw did just that.
What do you know? I got a short straw after all. Okay, cold and ugly, pull him up.
Just then, the moose heard a welcome voice from above him.
Bullwinkle, stand aside.
Yes, high on a nearby cliff was Rocky the Flying Squirrel. Of course, our hero would never desert a friend in need.
Out of the way, Bullwinkle! Here I come!
And from his high perch, Rocky launched himself like a guided missile directly at the huge form of the abominable snowman. And then, the impact was tremendous. So severe was the shock that in Japan, seismograph needles jumped right off the paper. In Honolulu, there was a snowstorm. And in Waxahachie, Texas, for the first time in 17 years, it rained. Back in Pottsylvania, Rocky pulled himself out of the snowbank and dashed to his pal.
Bullwinkle, speak to me! Speak to me!
Certainly, what would you like to hear?
Oh, thank goodness you're okay.
Oh, I'm fine, but he's having a little trouble.
Sure enough, the abominable snowman was behaving very oddly.
What do you suppose he's saying?
I don't know, but he's saying it in two voices.
What you say to us, snowman?
I said, get me out of here.
Bullwinkle, I recognize that voice.
You're sure it's not just his stomach growling?
Get me out of here.
Bullwinkle, that voice belongs to Gidney, the Moon Man.
Great gobs of goo, Rocky. The Moon Man has been ate by the snowman.
Well, could Bullwinkle be right for the first time? And if so, what in the world can be done to go get Gidney? Be sure to see our next episode, The Moon Man is Blue, or The Inside Story.
Hello there, I am Mr. Know-It-All. Today, for all you golf addicts who are having father-in-law trouble, I am going to show you how to shoot par. Arriving at the golf course, we seek out the services of a caddy, preferably a big, strong one.
Hi!
Or a little weak one, as the case may be. First, I shall demonstrate the neophyte golfer's worst habit. Hand me my driver, caddy.
Yes, sir.
Now hand me a cup of tea.
Cup of tea? What are you going to do with that?
I'm going to tee off. That done, we now hit the ball.
Gee, you missed.
I know, which proves you should never drink when you drive. Having finally hit the ball, we discover it has landed in some thick woods. Therefore, I choose an iron for my next club.
Here you are, Mr. Know-It-All.
That isn't an iron, you silly caddy. This is an iron. The iron will not only flatten out your swing, it... also flattens the golfer, or golfee.
Uh-oh. Tough luck, Mr. Know-It-All. It went right into the sand trap.
The only effective way to get the ball out of a sand trap is by blasting.
Mr.
What do you know? A hole-in-one. One moose, that is. Buenos dias, caddy.
Where you going, Mr. Know-It-All?
I'm going to play in a tournament down in Tijuana.
Tijuana? I never heard of a tournament down there.
Oh, come now. Everybody's heard of the Gulf of Mexico.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Hello there, Peabody and Sherman here. Today, through the magic of my Wayback Machine, Sherman and I will become acquainted with that eminent Scandinavian inventor, Alfred Nobel.
Isn't he the man who invented prizes, Mr. Peabody?
No, Sherman. Alfred Nobel invented dynamite. Set their way back for Italy.
And the year?
1863. As usual, the Wayback took us way back instantly, and there we were standing before a quaint little Italian villa. I believe this is the Nobel residence, Sherman.
How can you tell, Mr. Peabody?
Sherman's question needed no further answer. Inside the smoke-filled structure, we found Alfred Nobel in what was left of his laboratory.
Are you all right, Mr. Nobel?
Yes, sure, I'm fine.
I assume, sir, you've been conducting an experiment on high explosives.
Oh, yes, sure. It's a little thing I call nitroglycerin.
I guess you'll have to give it up now that your laboratory's ruined.
Oh, no, on the contrary.
He led us into an adjoining room. This one, too, contained a laboratory. A new one.
You wouldn't believe this, but at one time this place consisted of 87 laboratories.
This little villa?
This little villa was once a huge estate. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll get on with my work. I'm expecting the mess here in exactly 1 hour.
The mess?
MESS, the mechanical engineers of Sardinia and Sicily. If I can prove that nitroglycerin is as powerful as I think it is, then by golly, I've got it made. Oops.
Careful, Mr. Nobel. You almost had another explosion.
Sorry, it must be the light in here.
So saying, the great inventor struck a match and lit what appeared to be a candle.
There, that's better. More light on the subject. Now, where was I?
You'll have to forgive this interruption, sir, but the candle...
What about the candle?
Well, if your candle maker's initials aren't TNT, then I suggest this candle isn't a candle at all.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I know a candle when I see one. Come outside, I prove it to you.
We adjourned to the front lawn.
Now, the candle is still in my laboratory, correct?
Correct.
And if it were TNT, it would blow up, also correct?
Also correct.
Well, it hasn't blown up yet. Therefore, I think I can safely state without the least bit of hesitation that what you assume to be a stick of TNT is in reality a stick of TNT.
Fortunately, Mr. Nobel had a few more laboratories left. And this time, Sherman and I kept a constant vigil on the great man. Working feverishly, he concluded his experiment just as the mess delegation arrived.
Won't you say this stuff is more powerful than garlic?
Far more powerful, sir.
This we got to see. Proceed me the test.
The test was a simple one. 200 yards from Nobel's villa stood a dilapidated shack. The nitroglycerin sat on its dusty floor. Back at the laboratory, Sherman and I awaited the historic moment.
The rest is child's play. I merely press this button, and the shack becomes non-existent. I'm sure those gentlemen will be highly impressed.
By the way, where are they?
At the best possible vantage point, in the shack.
And with that, he calmly pressed the button.
Did I say in the shack?
Oh, my gosh, there's going to be a disaster.
Good gravy, this is going to ruin me.
Calm yourselves, please. If you'll notice, the shack is still standing.
How could it be? Something must have gone wrong. Right.
It's very simple. It takes electricity to set off the nitroglycerin, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Why?
Because I took the precaution of removing this fuse, thereby cutting off the electricity. And now, Sherman, if you'll ask those gentlemen to view the test from a safer distance, we'll get on with it. Well, as you can see, the test was immensely successful.
Without your help, it would not have been possible. Goodbye, good luck, and please accept this as a token of my gratitude.
And so we bid Alfred Nobel a fond and not too reluctant goodbye. Later at my penthouse apartment...
What was it Mr. Nobel gave you, Mr. Peabody?
The Nobel Prize, Sherman. But, of course, I gave him something, too.
Really? What?
What else? The Peabody Award.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But that trick never worked.
This time for sure. Presto! Well, I'm getting close.
And now it's time for another special feature.
Well, the attack of the abominable snowman came to grief when our boy Rocky zoomed to the defense of his pal Bullwinkle. The snowman definitely came off the loser, but then both our heroes were surprised to hear a familiar voice emerging from inside the snowman.
Get me out of here.
That's our friend Gidney the Moon Man.
But how can we get him out? He's been ate by the snowman.
No, Bullwinkle, he is the snowman.
Only half, Rocky. I'm the other part.
Hey, that sounds like...
The name is Cloyd.
Gee, you sure sounds like him, too.
Here, Bullwinkle, help me tear this cover off.
And when Rocky zipped open the cover, sure enough, there were the two moon men, Gidney and Cloyd.
Whatever were you doing in that get-up?
Tell him, Cloyd. Well, I thought it would be a good joke.
Joke? It like to scared us out of 7 years' growth.
Yeah, our two guides still haven't come back.
Sure enough, Boris and Natasha were at that moment heading over the hill and into the sunset.
We left Mooseberry Bush.
Don't talk to me about trifles.
But what we do when Central Control asks questions?
What else? We look him straight in the eye and lie.
But how come you're clear over here in Pennsylvania, Gidney?
Yeah, last we heard you were knocking them dead at Las Vegas.
That was the trouble.
And as they trudged down the hill, Gidney told the boys his story. It seems that after their great success as a song and dance team, a television producer signed them to appear in a new Western show called Moonsmoke. Everything went well until the last scene in the show.
Gee whiz, Marshal Moon. Here comes the Crater Kid now.
Something you wanted, Crater?
Yep, I'm calling your bluff, Marshal. Draw!
Cloyd drew, all right, but unfortunately fired his scrooch gun directly at the camera. As a result, the entire television audience was frozen solid. All over the country, people were literally glued in front of the television sets. The Late Show had its biggest audience ever.
Gee, then what happened?
Our show was canceled.
How come?
With an audience that couldn't move away from their sets, they didn't need shows.
You mean?
Yep. Now they're showing nothing but commercials.
I'm not so sure I want to go home, Rock.
Oh, it's probably fixed by now, Bullwinkle. Besides, we gotta take back this mooseberry bush.
Mooseberry bush? You found the last one in the world.
We can make our rocket fuel.
We can get back to the moon.
Oh, you're just our favorite Earth people.
Well, I really plan to give this bush to our government.
Give it to
your government.
But that means we'll never get back to the moon.
No, we'll never see the old home crater again.
No more sitting in the porch in the evening, watching the Earth come up.
Gee, fellas, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, Rocky. You have your duty to do.
Golly, Bullwinkle, I just feel terrible about Gidney and Cloyd.
Yeah, suppose we were on the moon and couldn't get back.
Yeah. Bullwinkle, I'm gonna do it.
Good. What?
I'm gonna get the moon men back to the moon.
And let down the entire whole United States government? Rocket J. Squirrel, I'm ashamed on you.
And the indignant Bullwinkle turned on his heel and walked away. Well, will Rocky, our Rocky, really fail to carry out his mission? Don't miss our next episode, Fuels Rush In, or the Star-Spangled Boner.
time for Bullwinkle's Corner. Today's poem is a ballad of the war between the states. Barbara Fretchie. The spires of Frederick usually stand green-walled by the hills of Maryland. But the town was deserted that autumn day, 'cause Confederate troops were on the way. But there old Barbara Fretchie sat. Her Union heart was loyal yet. Then up the street came the fearsome call.
Ye Stonewall Boris! Hi, you all!
Under his slouch hat left and right he glanced, then saw a wondrous sight.
Oh, boy!
Quick as fell from the clothesline there, Dame Barbara snatched her underwear. Shoot if you must this old gray head, but spare my Union suit, she said.
Foolish girl!
Hold it, Stonewall! Who touches a hair of my gray head dies like a dog. March on, I said. I may be patriotic, but I'm not crazy.